Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott, and you, my dear, dear friend. Oh, you've wandered onto the #1 prog rock channel on all of YouTube. It's the Prog Corner, and yeah, I'm wearing my Saved by the Bell Hot Sunday shirt. Oh, man, if you remember that Jesse song episode, I'm so excited. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know, right? If you don't, you don't. Hey, I'm excited because I just got my new Prog magazine issue in today, so that's cool. Always about a month later than everybody in the UK, but that's all right. I'm not hating on it. Yeah, today I was supposed to be interviewing Neil Morris, but the interview has been rescheduled, so we will do that next week. I'm supposed to talk to him Friday, so if that goes through, I'll be posting that on Monday. So I had to come up with a topic off the top of my head, and here we go. You know, I went on YouTube and I didn't see any other videos about this subject. How is that even possible? Bands with only one bad album. Yeah, you know, I could think about a few that did not make my list. Metallica comes to mind with Saint Anger, but you know, you can't ignore that Lou Reed Lulu collaboration because that was just bad. Soft Machine, Land of Cocaine, that's not a good album. How about Van Halen 3? Just terrible, just awful. That guy didn't belong in the band. And what about The Astonishing by Dream Theater? Does that belong to be on the list? Maybe, maybe not. I didn't put it on my list, but here are the 10 bands that put out one bad album in their discography, according to me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because this is kind of a cool topic that I've only had like an hour to think about, so I know I'm missing a bunch of them. At number 10, yeah, we just talked to her on Sunday. The Sunday live stream with Annie Haslam, and unfortunately, they have one bad album. They really do. Camera's not as bad as I thought it was, but the follow-up Timeline from 1983, their 11th album, really not good. I guess Annie and Michael Dunford had been playing in some band called Nevada, and they decided to do an album, but they didn't have enough material, so John Camp comes along, and it's basically a John Camp album, but it doesn't sound like Renaissance a whole lot. Not a great album at all. In fact, it's a bad album. At number 9, it kind of hurts my heart to put this band on the list, but I'm going with Kansas, and I love Kansas so much, but there was one album in their discography I could never get into. They had already lost Steve Walsh for Vinyl Confessions, and then they lose Robbie Steinhardt, so they've lost both their vocalists. Kerry Livgren's still in the band, but Drastic Measures from 1983, the band's 9th album, the second and final album with John Elefante singing. I don't like it. It doesn't sound like Kansas to me. I don't like it at all. I'm sorry. I want a violin in my Kansas. Steve Walsh and Robbie Steinhardt, impossible to replace. And Drastic Measures just sounded like a bad 80s rock album to me. At number 8, bands with only one bad album. I'm going with Jethro Tull. I know they have a couple records in their discography that, don't measure up to the greatness of Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, Stand Up, or any of those classics. But there's one album in particular that I personally never connected with, not even one little bit, and it's Catfish Rising from 1991. The band's 18th album. And they'd been kind of going on this blues rock thing, their last couple albums, and I didn't care for it, and this was just the absolute nadir of the entire discography for me. They righted the ship later on with Roots to Branches, but it was kind of a toss-up between Rock Island and Catfish Rising, but there's actually a few songs I like on Rock Island. I don't really like much on Catfish Rising, except there's one song I do like, Occasional Demons, kind of good. But yeah, absolutely, this album could just disappear from the Jethro Tull discography, and nobody would care. No one would even notice. At number 7, something I noticed when doing a little research on this is a lot of times these clunker albums happen at the tail end of a career. No exception here with Queen, right? And I'm going with the Cosmos Rocks from 2008. Is it really even a Queen album? Freddie's not around. You've got Paul Rogers, and you've only got Brian May and Roger Taylor in the band. John Deacon, had retired by this point. It doesn't sound like Queen. And more importantly, it doesn't sound good. I mean, there's just very little to recommend about this album. It should have never happened. It's a terrible album cover. It's a bad album. At number 6. Oh, man. I'm going with Emerson, Lake and Palmer. The more I live with their discography, the more I realize that Love Beach is not a horrible album. Works Volume 2, not a horrible album. Even Black Moon is not a horrible album. Side 1 of Black Moon is actually really, really good. So I'm going with their final album, In the Hot Seat, 1994. Oh, this thing should have been great, man. It was produced by none other than Keith Olsen, a cat who'd been working with, I don't know, people like Ozzy Osbourne, Fleetwood Mac, The Scorpions, Foreigner, Pat Benatar, Whitesnake, Journey. This album was just tailor-made to be great. When in fact there's only one good song on it, the opening track, Hand of Truth, really, really good. But Keith couldn't play anymore. Greg couldn't sing anymore. So yeah, In the Hot Seat, just not good. At number 5. Bands with only one bad album. And here's a band with only 5 albums, but 4 of them are really, really good. And their 4th album was terrible. I'm talking about Starcastle. Yeah, they opened up with their first album and then Fountains of Light. Citadel was their 3rd album. They put out an album back in 2007 also called Song of Times. But there's that one album there in the middle, their 4th album called Reel to Reel from 1978. The label told the boys, hey, Boston and Foreigner and Journey and Styx, and these bands are tearing up the charts. You need to do something similar. So they tried their hand at some AOR, and it just doesn't work, right? This is not a band designed for AOR. There's a couple songs that are palatable on this, but it's Starcastle, man. Where's the prog? They just totally disowned the prog, so I totally disown Reel to Reel at number 4. Another thing we see besides the final album or one of the last albums in a band's career, we also see early on, maybe like that first album or 2, maybe not great. And I'm talking about Genesis. But if I look at that debut, it is what it is. It's a fine album for what it was, a Jonathan King album, basically. So I'm not going to, throw too much hate on it, but Calling All Stations from 1997 deserves as much vitriol as we can pile on it. And it's not Ray Wilson's fault, man. Not at all. The guy does a really, really good job. I liked Stiltskin. I thought that was a good band. And Ray's been doing a lot of interesting stuff since he left Genesis. But, you've got 2 drummers on this album when, Chester Thompson was begging to be a member of the band. Oh, we don't need him. Let's get some guy from Israel. Ridiculous. Just bad decision after bad decision. They tried to tour on this thing. Come on, nobody wants to see Genesis with Mike, Tony, and Ray. That wasn't going to happen. Still a couple decent songs on here. I guess Congo's okay. Shipwrecked is okay, but not a good album. In fact, it's a bad album. At number 3, bands with only one bad album. I'm going with Melan. And I know that might be a little bit of a surprise because there were a lot of ups and downs in their discography, particularly in the H era. But as I listen back to their entire discography, there's only one album I don't really connect with, and that is Holidays in Eden from 1991, the band's 6th album overall, the 2nd with H in the band. I was going to go with Season's End because for years that was my least favorite Melan album, but Easter's on there, so I can't put it on there, man. It's just that song is way too good. Holidays in Eden just kind of sounds slick and like they were listening to their record label way too much, crying about trying to get a hit like they had on their, 3rd album. But, Melan got smart and started going independent, doing their own thing, crowdfunding their albums, not listening to the men in the suits and following their muse. But yeah, Holidays in Eden, I never really cared for. At number 2, bands with only one bad album. And here's another one that goes out to the late era crowd, the late career stuff. It's The Clash and their final album, Cut the Crap. Yeah, it's got the word crap in it, so that kind of gives you an idea what this album's all about. Apparently, there was a lot of infighting in the band after Combat Rock. That was a band that was never designed to be a top 40, smash hit maker kind of band, but there it was with Rockin' the Casbah and Should I Stay or Should I Go? And the band, of course, imploded. Mick Jones and Topper Hedden were fired from the band. Why would you fire the best drummer on earth? That doesn't make any sense at all, man. Topper Hedden, just incredible. And Mick Jones, you need his songwriting. You need that second voice. That's what made The Clash great. You had Joe and Mick both singing, and the contrast between them, the tension between them, that made The Clash tick. And without Mick and Topper, it was no good. So you had Joe Strummer and Paul Simonon, who would go on to do more interesting things a couple years later with a band called Havana 3 AM. And Joe would do some good solo stuff, but not good. At number one, this is the surprise here, boys and girls. I want to get your goat a little bit, get you guys thinking about it. But I'm going with the Beatles. I think they had one bad album. I really, really do. And that is, well, in the UK, it was called The Beatles for Sale. I guess most of those songs, maybe like 8 out of the 14 songs, ended up in the US as Beatles 65. I never liked that one either. In fact, there are 2 songs I do like. On The Beatles for Sale, 8 Days a Week is great. And I'm a Loser is really, really cool. But the rest of it is like I'll Follow the Sun is like a minute long. You got these covers. It sounds like country. And, you know, this is the sound of a band that's tired. This is the sound of a band that kind of lost their mojo. This is the sound of a band that, listening to the Beatles for Sale. If you didn't know any better, you would think that was the sound of a band that all their best stuff was in their rearview mirror. Who knew what was going to happen after the Beatles for Sale? All the greatness that just flowed from there. It was almost like the band was tired and just needed to calm down. These songs are low key. There's no energy to them. Like I said, some of it even sounds like country. It's just terrible. I don't like it. And I just had another thought about late career bands that made big mistakes. How about the Doors putting out 2 records without Jim Morrison? But that's 2, right? So they couldn't make the list. We're talking about bands with 1 bad album. And I think I nailed it, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. Bands, let's do like a 5 album minimum. You can't have a band with 2 albums. They had 1 good one, 1 bad one. 5 album minimum. Bands with only 1 bad album. Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, tomorrow on the program, boys and girls, I'm going to be talking to the one, the only Graham Gouldman from 10cc. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have Kevin from Prog Radio on with me, helping me out with the interview, because I know he's a big, big fan. Who doesn't like 10cc, man? What a career Graham's had, so we're going to be talking to him. And like I said, we'll be doing a little Neil Morris interview later on. And then I will be ranking all the Mike Oldfield albums. So that's coming up, boys and girls. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, if you like this, hit the subscribe button. You know what to do. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, whatever. I don't care what you do, to be quite honest with you. Watch the videos, don't watch the videos. It's a free country, man. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet. Free the Ukraine. Free Willie. Free everybody. And God save King Chucky. Oh, King Charles III's got that cancer. Bring that boy to America. Oh, yeah, bring him to America right now. Make him swim. Oh, yeah, that boy can swim. It'll be good for him. Oh, yeah, the exercise will get them guns going real good. It's only like 3,000 miles. And once he's here, we're going to lay hands on him. Woo, yeah, the healing hands of the faithful are going to do some good. Yeah, boys and girls, our prayer warriors are working 24/7. King Chucky's got the cancer. Oh, we got to save that boy. What are we going to do? I know what to do, boys and girls. Hey, Billy Bob, do you know what to do? He knows what to do. He's going to bust out them snakes. Oh, we're going to dance with snakes. Oh, yeah, the snakes are going to get us. Oh, better watch out. Put my armor on, man. The armor of God's going to save me. These snakes aren't going to get me. Nothing's going to get me because I got the Spirit of the Lord in me, buddy. And I hope you got the Spirit of the Lord in you, too. I'll see you tomorrow with Graham Gouldman of 10cc. I'm out.